Hello there, thanks so much for tuning in. So I'm Tim here at Digital Armour. Yes, there is a person attached to these hands, believe it or not. So today we're going to be looking at another classic bit of CCG nostalgia. This is Scrye Magazine, and as you can see, it is sealed. It's not 100% sealed. There were meant to be some free cards in it, but there has been a little slit made at the bottom to get the cards out. I'm not too bothered by that. Yeah, it would have been cool to have them, but I knew that when I was buying it. But it does still have the Star Wars CCG Player's Guide in the back of it. So we're actually going to just completely unbox this now on camera. Why not? Here we go. So Scrye was one of the few CCG magazines that were around at the time. This is from August 1997, so really old school. I would have been about 13 at this stage. There was Scrye. There was also Inquest, which was quite a sort of more comedy version, still had a lot of content to it. And then Wizards of the Coast had their own magazine called The Duelist, although it did touch on other companies' CCGs. But Scrye was completely open to a bit of everything. So we have got the 40-page player's guide, so presumably that's this, and we might have a look through that at the end if there's time. I generally waffle on a lot, so videos tend to go quite long. We've also got dagger bar prices for Star Wars CCG. We got a load of bits and pieces. We got Weatherlights for Magic in here, prices and first cut tips. We got Baxter, whoever that is, on Type 2 decks. So Magic Type 2 used to be, that's what used to be known as standard these days. And then we got some Dragon Ball Z, Alien versus Predator card game, Dune, and Shadowrun, which was a card game that I never really got into. Well, I never got into any of them. I wanted to. Couldn't afford it, being a young child back then. So 2 adverts here. We've got X-Files CCG, which was a lot of fun. And we got Star Trek CCG, which I never played, but was quite similar-ish to Star Wars, in that it was both made by the same company. And so there were locations and things like that. Okay, so we're still not into any actual content. We've got another big advert for the Dune CCG. Absolutely love the Dune universe and so looking forward to Denis Villeneuve's remake of that as and when that comes out. His films are absolutely amazing. Really loved his Blade Runner redo, and Arrival is one of my all-time favourite sci-fis. So excited to see what he does with the Dune franchise. So we've got contents and we've got even more adverts here for Shadowrun, the TCG. We've got another advert here, Legend of the Five Rings. We've got a few corrections or something or other going on there. Who knows? That looks like make up your own cards in some kind of a competition. So we've got news of what's happening. So yeah, Star Wars Cloud City, hence the cover. Middle-earth CCG, which was before there was a Lord of the Rings CCG, there was Middle-earth. We've got a bit more on Dune here, Eye of the Storm. So 6 different starter decks, fixed and random cards representing the 6 Imperial powers. House Atreides, House Harkonnen, House Carino, the Spacing Guild, the Bene Gesserit Sisterhood, and the Fremen. So each player has 2 play areas, their homeworld and the desert planet of Arrakis, where the sole source of spice is found. So, oh yeah, so there was Eye of the Storm and Judge of Change, so they announced the first expansion straight away. So that's pretty cool that there's all kinds of news coming from all these different places. Battletech CCG, another really good one. It's hard to tell what was a TCG and what was a CCG. Didn't really matter at the end of the day, but there you go. So Dragon Ball Z anime there, Shadowrun, so you can see the type of artwork that was involved in that, and that looks definitely sort of very FASA Corporation of that era. Yeah, it looks exactly like you would imagine from FASA, who predominantly did Battletech, RPG books and things like that. Alien versus Predator. We've got a bit on Dune as well, so it's a look at what the cards look like without any of the sort of rules text and stuff on them, and the artwork looks fantastic. Proper sinister. We get a deck here for Star Wars, and so it doesn't look like it's filled with too many big characters. There's a few. Oh, there's Luke Skywalker, there's Obi-Wan, but then it's got like Owen Lars in it and Beru Lars. So it looks a bit more of a theme deck around the Tatooine locations rather than rather than an all-out killer deck. And then there's a counter deck to it for the dark side, so that's quite fun. That was something I always enjoyed, sort of the granularness of the Star Wars CCG, that you could reenact things with quite sort of as precise as you could with a card game. So I really enjoyed that. So looking through some of the first anthology for Star Wars and Star Trek, and I don't know whether or not Middle Earth got a anthology or not, but it seems to be included in here anyway. Hot picks from Weatherlight. So we have got Lotus Vale, Mana Web, Call of the Wild, Heart of the Garden, and Xanthic Statue. So I'm not 100% sure that those have stood the test of time particularly well. As is so often the case with these old magazines, they generally get it quite wrong, because they couldn't have known what craziness will have happened to Magic the Gathering in recent sets and years. Nice big article all about Star Wars, article about Magic. So what is this deck here? So Air Elementals, Counter Spells, Force of Wills, Mystical Tutors, Wrath of God and Disenchant, Thor and Glaciers, Caduran Outposts. Fair enough, that seems like a pretty interesting old school deck. Yeah. And then even more, let's have a look. So Gazban Ogre, never heard of it, River Boa, Yavimaya Ants, Incinerates, Lurgoyfs. Everyone used to love Lurgoyfs. So yeah, it just seems like fairly random old school decks there. So that's always fun to look at, what Magic used to be. Even more FAQs here. So this magazine is packed with detail. This seems to have the most amount of Star Wars in it out of all of the 3 types of magazines that I've picked up at the moment. And Star Wars was full on at this time at this year. So yeah, I'm absolutely loving it that there's so much going on in here with all of this other CCGs. If I'm going to pick up more magazines, I'm going to be picking up more Scryes, that is for sure, because this is going to take me ages to properly read through and digest. So yeah, even more stuff. There's Bosk. I don't know if you can see him too well from now. I'll try and get a close up. Bosk, one of the bounty hunters. Absolute badass. Even more stuff. That was really cool. They had to make, can't get it close enough to the camera, but starships in Star Wars were usually a portrait card, kind of like this, but the Executor was such a ridiculously massive super star destroyer that they had to make the card landscape just to fit the artwork in. Yeah, I absolutely love that. Otherwise, if they'd have done it on this kind of orientation, it would have literally just been a silver line through a massive field of black. So yeah, carry on subscriptions, etc., books, other kind of stuff, media that you might be interested in. Vanguard, that was quite an interesting way to play Magic from back in the day. Dilbert. Anyone else remember Dilbert? So onto Weatherlights. So this has got a price guide in here as well. The Magic trading community was pretty much powered by magazines from back in the day. So yeah, this has got prices. Let's have a look. In 97, how much a Black Lotus was. About $385. So yeah, should have picked them up then, but who knows if you'd have got them then, whether or not you would have still had them today. So this covers all of Magic, and does it have other games in it? So it's got Visions in it, Weatherlight. Yeah, it's got Star Trek in here as well, and Star Wars. So yeah, you could price this up. Not too many of my friends were into other CCGs other than Magic, so it was quite hard to get the cards that you wanted for Star Wars and trade. Load of whatever they're called, classifieds for LGSs in the back, and then there's the player's guide. So this actually tells you what each card does, so that you can plan decks around it, because there wasn't Scryfall and the internet to be able to look up what cards were and what they did. And then anything at the back? Nope, there's more stuff. There's some tournament photos of people that have won tournaments, presumably. And then there's quizzes. So in the back of the magazines, generally, there were scenarios where you had to pretend that you were playing against this person and figure out how that you won the scenario. So that was always quite good. Bit of mental card gaming without actually having the cards there. Final bit of contest, and then onto the back page. So Wizards customer service. Interesting. So that was the Scrye magazine. I'm going to spend as long as I can reading through this because it seems like a proper interesting magazine. Absolutely love it. I don't know if we're going to flick through this properly. No, let's just have a look through. Okay, so it's got a lot of the sort of card details in here. So this tells you what each of the cards does, kind of like the magic section in the back of there, but instead for Star Wars. So that's really quite useful. So yeah, there we go. That was a look at Scrye. Let me know down in the comments below if you had any of the Scrye magazines or either of the others. Or there might be some that I don't know about. There might be some other smaller, sort of more independent magazines. So I'd love to hear about those down in the comments below. Please don't forget to do all of the usual YouTube business. Thumbs up, subscribing, ringing that bell notification icon like you wouldn't believe. And I will catch you all very soon for more old school CCGs, possibly a bit of magic, and definitely a lot more fun. Cheers for watching. Catch you soon. Ta-ra.